Welcome back, welcome back. It's the second part of the stream, starting slightly early today and finishing slightly earlier because daughter's birthday meal. Yeah, started at 10 o'clock this morning and we're back for the second part today. So I'll be going for 3 hours, guys. I'll be here till 6 and then I have to go. I'm booked into a restaurant, so don't have much choice in this one. Navarine, thank you for 62 months. Game Room, thank you for half a year. Chris Quaid with 21 months. Dark CCC with 4 months. And Harm, thank you for 71 months. Tier 3, sir. Almost 6 years. Thanks to the amazing content. Squirrel Hug, thank you, dude. Thank you, Harm. FLQ, 27 months. Now, on the bottom of this, I've built some monstrous thing, and it still has a terrible thrust-to-weight ratio and nowhere enough delta V. So I'm kind of thinking about slapping some SRBs on the side. And seeing if we can get away with this actual monster that we're building here. The Thoroughbred. Let's have a look at the Thoroughbred. What would that do for us, I wonder? Probably wants to be lower down than that, doesn't it? Let's try putting down there. What would that give us? Right, so all the couplers are on the same thing. Fine. Like that. Stage 7. Ooh, we've got a positive thrust to weight ratio. Just about. Thanks, Biff. We could possibly maybe drop a tank. What's stage 6 then? Oh, hang on. Those couplers need to go. Which one's that? Where's that coupler? That's the... Okay, so... So fire the main engine and then things, then detonate, get rid of the boosters. Yeah, we might have to use less main tank fuel. And a bit more on the SRB side of things, possibly. 1.19 thrust to weight ratio. That's dreadful. Nice one on HS. Thank you. Yeah, that's... Wait, what's that one got? Maximum thrust, 1500 kilonewtons at atmospheric, 1500. Okay, that one's got 3000. That's probably more what we need. How big's that? It's a bit more like it. Go big or go home. Just to go a little bit higher. Let's put that there. A little bit more. I guess you kind of want the thrust to be level, really. It's probably not that important in this game, but... something along those lines. Right, now we need to put them down there, I think. So those 4 engines fire at the same time as the 4 SRBs, and that gives us 1.38 with 1700 delta V. Right, so that basically gets us up But with 1700 delta V, that's not even going to get us into the atmosphere. But at that point, we can jettison the SRBs, which weigh quite a bit. I don't know. It's not going to be firing long enough to get anything done, really. And I think if we try and add that fuel tank back, I think there'll be... thrust to weight ratio might be completely broken. What the heck is this toolbar here that I can't get rid of? That's the SRBs. That's the main engines, which have just suddenly moved for some reason. 1.23. So to say 7 hasn't really changed. Interesting. Then they fire... They all need to fire at the same time. And then... Okay, I think we just need to... take it for a spin, so to speak, and see what happens. Let's get some aerodynamic stuff on here. These little caps on there, they're too big. Don't know if they're structurally going to be okay. Couple of fire. Probably want that down here. Maybe. Which I don't know. I might have to go up there. Alright, I'm just going to try it and see what happens. Let's put the... What's the launch thingy? Ground, no. Utility. What's the launch tower? Is that it? There it is. Let's see where this goes. Black Falcon, thank you for 63 months. Cool. Nice and stable. That's what we want. Okay. So it's not structurally sound for whatever reason. I think these struts got snapped off is what happened. For some reason these boosters just broke away. Well, we could put things on the main launch body. The problem is if you look at it, it tends to like glitch it into everything else. You see? It's like it's literally clipped into this engine now. I'm going to get some fins on here. Storm Dragon, thank you for a year. We need some kind of stability on the way up. I don't think that's going to work like that. There is an auto strut option, but I don't know which to auto strut, to be honest. Kiwi Jim, good afternoon. Thank you for 17 months, Kiwi Jim. Right, well, it didn't immediately bin it into the ground, so that's a good start. Right, mech jeb. Let's see if we can get this going here. Ascent guidance, that's the one we usually use, isn't it? Orbit altitude. 120k. Limit throttle, force roll. Let's try and remember how to use this thing. Classic ascent profile. Damn, that's a beast. That's a beast! Yeah, it's very slow. That's why it isn't going to work. It's to build up enough speed so that when these SRBs are ditched, it can actually carry on. Otherwise, it won't have enough thrust to weight for these engines to keep it moving. Might have to start strapping boosters onto the boosters, surely. Yurovich, thank you for 69 months. I mean, 8,000 meters and we've still got SRB fuel left. That's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not bad. Better than I thought it would be. It's actually quite stable. I mean, I don't think the SRB worked terribly well. They kind of got damaged on the way out. I think I
broke something.
But, you know, we're still here. We're still alive, and we've got plenty of fuel left. This is going better than expected. PS4 gamer, thank you. This is not... Yeah. This is not good. This is not good at all. I don't think they've got vectoring, and therefore what's happening is it can't control the craft anymore. You see how they're not vectoring, and it can't realign it. Separatrons? What do we need separatrons? Oh, they're the things that throw them out. However, that's not terrible. We've like loads of fuel left. And we're at 64,000 meters on the main stage, on the launch stage. That is not terrible. We're going into a low orbit by the look of it. Oh. It's throttling back now. Do you know what? It might actually get us to into an orbit. That's bonkers. Actually, they are gimbaled. Why is it rotating around that way? Did I put a reaction control on this? Yeah, I think I'm going to need RCS. We have a lot more fuel than I thought we would have. We can possibly ditch a tank or shorten a tank. Maybe half of a tank and then... to think about the RCS side of it. Wait, why is it spinning for retrograde burn? Like, what on earth is it doing? Weird. Yeah. Well, that was not a completely terrible first go. One thing that didn't work very well is the separators. We need to replace those. Was payload coupling. Which is the one that we normally... I thought it was that one, the radial decoupler, but that didn't work very well. This decoupler didn't throw it away enough. There's one that explodes. I think it's called a Separatron or something. Radial decoupler. Separatron, there it is. Now you have to orient this correctly, don't you? Or remember. So we kind of want to orient it like that, I think. So that it pushes the whole thing away. Why did you have to be a scumbag game? That'll push the top away. Do we need it on the bottom as well, do you think? Otherwise that'll push that out, but not that bit. It might be okay, I don't know. Right, so they need to go. Why does it keep messing up the whole staging? Get rid of those upper T70s that don't actually do anything. Which upper T70s? Do you mean these? I'm not sure what you mean. Right. Engine, oh, that's that. Right, so that's all the couplers. You mean them? Yeah, but they kind of provide... They kind of separate it off here as well. Otherwise they'd be glitching into these engines. That's kind of why they're there. Right, main engine, SRB, launch. Then comes the separators along with those. They all need to fire off at the same time. Then that is that coupler. Right, so that's that sorted. Right, now we need some RCS or something. I think, is that one? fuel tank. That's that one, isn't it? There is no half-height version of that. Maybe Olicasio. We can carry on at some point. That one. That's the half-height version of that. So we could do that, and then the weight fuel saving will allow us to bring some RCS in. However, if we're bringing RCS in, I think I'd rather have the RCS tank up here that we can use later, because if you put it on here, it will get jettisoned on the launch, which is not ideal. Right, so where do we want the RCS thrusters to sit? Where's the centre of mass? So it needs to rotate around that, really. It's going to be tricky. Like, further away from that is where you want. You want it down here, really, but you can't really put an RCS thruster down here. I suppose we could put it there. Give it some moment. Actually, I think for what you need down here, you just want to orient. You more or less, when you're on the way up, you're more or less trying to rotate like this, aren't you? So I think you might be alright with some singular ones. Where the fins are. I can't. Well, yeah, I'm going to put one here. But I'm just thinking we don't need something like this. We can just do something like that. Thrust power 0.2, thrust power 2.0. So that would be more powerful. And then it's a case of where do we put the... Yeah, these are more powerful. They're really hard to see. I think they're facing outwards. No, we don't need roll, yaw, and pitch. No, we don't need that. That's what I'm saying. If you're a rocket heading up, you don't really need to spin that way. And if you do, you can use the ailerons to do it anyway. You literally only need 2 axes, which is what you're going to get because you've got the 2 different axes along your length. So you'll be fine with that. Later on, when we get up here, once that stage is gone, you're on the transfer stage, then you need a similar thing along the length of this, which we can do, because where's the transfer there? So that would need to be... shroud. Yeah, so you can't put it there, so you have to put them here. So you'd have like one here, and then another one somewhere up here before that connects like that, and that would allow the transfer stage to move. And then finally up here on the landing stage, this is where you need to be a bit more clever. I think you probably want... It's not going to need to dock though, that's the thing. It's not ever going to need to dock. So I don't know, you can get away with that as well. put them... If we detach that away from there... Yeah, there's the centre of mass. PC Tech, thank you for 89 months. I am doing fine, thank you. We don't need complex RCS on this, so I think we can keep it simple. It's not going to be a docking thing. This is just for manoeuvring. What is that? It's a decoupler. We'll just have to move these up a touch. If I move these up, it's not going to wipe out the contents, is it? If I click on this and move it up and put it back, will it wipe out the contents? Because I've got different things in these. I don't want it to just put 4 new ones back and forget the contents. That would be really annoying. Because I want to put it like above that coupler. I literally want to put it there. I guess I could try moving it. See what it does. Oh, you scumbag. You actual scumbag. It does. It just resets the whole thing. How do I physically move these 4 up without picking them up and putting them back? Is there a tool to just... Move tool. Select apart to offset. Come on then. Why are you... What the... Okay. We'll have to go with that. It's slightly off because I don't know, the move tool's a bit strange. Like you have to take it in that way. Oh my god. Take it in that way to bring it out that way. Okay, that's about the best I can get out of it. And then that goes on there. And then we want something further up here. Just to keep them in line with that. I'll do. I should do it. Not sure if they're correct RCS ports. I think they just blow out. They do. It's exactly what I want them to do. Right, let's just check the staging. That's fine. And that. That's fine. Then we're on to transfer. Actually, we'll already be in orbit by then, so I think, where's the fairing one? That's the fairing one, I think. That needs to come down. Because I think we'll be ready to get rid of the fairing before we hit the transfer stage. Okay, let's try that. And the crew is engineer, scientist, and pilot. The game's very complex. Yeah. Zar Mohab, thank you for 100 months. Dude, your second one today. Hit 100 months. Thank you very, very much. Triple digit hype. Appreciate that. 100 months of support. Onward to 200. Steady on. Steady on. Oh, this is a bit random. We fixed that with stuff and it's just broke away. Look. I did indeed, Pektak. I did forget to put on RCS tanks. But I want to know why sometimes that is just stupidly wonky. It's got struts on it, so why does it do that? I think we'll put some bagels on it. Matlin Z Sophie, thank you for 8 months. Let's do RCS. Just stick some little monopropellant tanks around the place. 0.1. Wait, let's... Can we get away with that? Now, whether that's enough, I don't know. That remains to be seen. I think we'll try putting that there and see if that helps. You forgot to extend the ladder on the upper stage. I didn't, did I? I'm sure I put it back on. What, on the main pod? I thought I put one back on. Well, that's just rubbish. What is that? Like, seriously, what is that? Right, click on the big SRBs and hit auto stroke. Heaviest part sounds fine. Oh, you mean the ladder here? That's going to be a bit of a problem, isn't it? Well, they can use the little jetpacks to get to that bit. After that, they're on their own. It's not touching the ground, I don't think. If anything, it's floating. What else was wrong? Is it these blocking the science bay door? Yes, they are. In that case, we'll have to... That's going to block the light. Scumbaggery. Can we put them on this bit? I think they can stay there, can't they? Why not have us in line? Because it'll make it taller, and this thing's tall enough. I don't want to make it any taller. And this is inside the fairing anyway, so it won't matter. Right, anything else before we try launching again? No? Good. Let the shenanigans commence. Okay, that's a bit more stable. Right, 120k altitude. Gauge autopilot. Let's do it. See how far we can get this time. I know that, Costello. That's why we're going on a test run. Like, without being able to detail, simulate, model it, the only way to do it is to play around, get your delta V's right, and then go for it. And see what happens, and then make adjustments. It's surprisingly stable, though, isn't it? Like, it's not doing this. It's actually quite stable. 4,000 meters halfway through the SRB. Not terrible. Max Q. It's holding a reasonable profile. SRBs will be going shortly, and that's when it had problems, I think. 20,000 meters. We're going too quick. It's definitely flying too quick. The speed is too quick. It's not keeping that profile again. Hang on, there was an option somewhere to enable RCS, wasn't there? I should have limited the queue. I think there's an option that you turn on. Yeah, that broke the parachute system. Somehow that broke the parachute. Oh no, it was too hot. Yeah, I don't... This is the bit I'm not quite understanding, is why is it spinning us round to retrograde? I don't quite understand why it's doing that. Okay, so... Maybe it's because it doesn't have RCS, it's just struggling. Let's think. Yeah, I've just realised that, Streb. I thought it was like damaged, but it's not. It's just you can't deploy them. We'll tell it to limit the speed. It definitely allowed it to get too quick. And we'll turn on the RCS and see what happens. Why does it always start late afternoon? Right, so... Maybe turn it on later. Limit queue. Is that what? SC to auxiliary, what does that mean? Right, it's using RCS a little bit. You'll probably see use it more when the SRBs go, I think. Hey, that's better. Now we're saving fuel. Still seeing explosions that I'm just not sure, but I don't see any damage. Feels like something's getting damaged. Now, interestingly, it's not following the prograde, which just moved, and it's not using the RCS either. It's accelerating now. Loads of fuel left. What on earth is it doing? Why, you're not having that anymore. So it should be waiting until we get to, I know what it's doing. I know what it's doing. It's basically angling itself, right? So that when it travels around, when it gets around to here, it will be pointing in the right direction to thrust. That's what it's doing. It's like you'd expect it to go around, then change, and then fire. But what it does is it changes and then goes around and then fires. Can I just say warp here? It keeps slowing down the time warp. Thank you, Richie. We threw it together, mate. How do I tell this thing to accelerate to the maneuver node? So SC to auxiliary is the call that saved Apollo 8 when its systems were scrambled after being struck by lightning during launch. It's actually gone past its apoapsis. I'm not really sure why it's doing that. I think because I turned the RCS off, it missed its angle. Hopefully it will fire when it's pointing the right way. There you go. Yeah, in order to save RCS, I turned off RCS and then it was pointing the wrong way so it wouldn't fire, so now it's late firing. But it should still be okay. Now the only problem is, you actually want to ditch those main tanks. So we're going to have spare fuel left when in orbit, which is not quite what you want. Because if we stage now, we'll be leaving stuff in space. So I think, because we have too much fuel, we'd be better off removing some fuel because that's got a lot. A half-height version of that will be fine. So that way, just as it's kind of about to start getting ready for orbit, it can jettison that and then just go for the transfer stage. New Axel, thank you for 53 months. Gavin K, thanks for 80 months. Thank you, guys. Let's revert that. It's getting there. We've almost got the launch sorted. We just need to make some fine-tuning. So this tank here is the S4128. S4128. Is that a half-height version of that? It looks like that. 5,760, 2,800. That might just do it. Let's try that. Now you got to circle around planet Kerbal. Other than that, that seemed to work fine, I think. So we can then go on to test the next stage. Alcinor, thank you for 34 months. Failing lurking at his best. Yeah, I mean, we just saved some weight and some fuel, which means that gives us some wiggle room later. If we want to put something in the upper stage, we can. Surprisingly stable, this thing. A lot of rockets, they'll take off and they'll either wiggle a bit or they'll start rotating. This just absolutely rock solid. It's quite surprising, really. Get a remote control units to second stage and deorbit after circularization. We could do that. Yeah, we could do that. Maybe I should do that. I'll do that now before we go further. So we want that on this section here, don't we? Somewhere before that, between here and here. That's where we want it. Somewhere along there. What's that under? Command and control. I can't remember what it's called. Communication. Is it under pods? Yeah, remote control guidance. It's that thing, isn't it? Trouble is they're too small. They're really tiny, these things. What if we add something like that in there? Would that do it? This is a cargo part that can be placed inside inventories. Unmanned, remote control, remote pilot assist available. The only thing is we'd have to make sure it had some power on this stage somewhere. Because when this is on its own, it won't have any batteries. So you want to make sure you've got some kind of power available, right? But potentially you can stick one of these like somewhere in here. Is what it's saying. Even though that just seems to glitch right through it. The Rove Mates has built-in batteries. Electric charge 120. can't use any of these. Because they're just so small. What's the best way of mounting this then? Maybe we just like stick it on the engine. Because it's weird. It's like it doesn't exist. It won't let you click it to anything. We can't use that easily, and these aren't appropriate. That's a part as well. That has no mass, no battery. Yeah, I don't want to put it in a container. That's the annoying thing. I don't know. I'm not sure how we can solve this. Well, these things are all absolutely tiny. Even that is way too small. None of these are as wide as that. None of them. Place a strut and attach it to that. Feels very hacky though, doesn't it? How heavy is this? Just like gaffer tape a thing to the outside like that. I can't tell you how hacky that feels right now. Oh, you mean like an octagonal strut? Right. You mean something like this? Just bolt it to the side like that. Oh, that just feels all kinds of wrong. Don't forget to auto strut before you clip it to the rocket. I'm hoping it's okay. I guess we'll find out. Right, so what we're looking for now is running out of fuel before we reach full orbit. And that will allow the rest of it to fall back down. Do we want to put, like, would you normally put parachutes on this stage now so that it falls back and you can recover the whole thing? I suppose you would, wouldn't you? Because at the moment, this all of this is going to fall back and just detonate on the ground. That's what's going to happen. Yeah, it's true, Larry. It's true. Needs to recover stuff. If you're playing it like in Elon Musk mode. Bob looks worried. He's not a frequent flyer, Bob. He's got like one of those nervous smiles on his face. He's like, this is great. I like flying. Don't want the boss to find out that I hate it. What even is that, though? See that? It's weird. Last time we got to 20k and then we dropped the SRBs. That's your shadow. Wow. This time we got to over 21, 22, 23, 24. Got 24k this time before we let go of the SRBs. Which means we probably still have too much fuel. Squirrel 9900, thank you for 15 months. I think we can probably ditch that fuel altogether. We have got ridiculous amounts of fuel left. Jaffa 1980, thank you for 70 months. Yep, way too much fuel. Wait a minute. I was looking at that one. Yeah, it's trying to rotate, so it's firing those two. Don't know why it's firing those two. Yeah, that's no good. Too much fuel.